Hello and welcome to our Vodcast. My name is Caitlin Sanders.
I'm Cody Wigglesworth.
And I'm Morgan Hughes.
And today we will be answering the question, what is pupil voice? To evaluate the effectiveness of pupil voice in primary education and to discuss how this may or may not be used in our education system.
The first question we will be addressing is going to be, what really is pupil voice?
Thank you, Morgan. Pupil voice can be understood as pupils having the opportunity to have a say in decisions in schools that affect them. It entails pupils playing an active role in their education and schooling as a result of schools becoming more attentive and responsive in sustained and routine ways to pupil views. It also recognises that pupil voice can contribute to a school's improvement, and they encourage schools to involve pupils in self-evaluation, planning and decision-making processes.
What are the types of pupil voice?
There are three main types of pupil voice. The first one is authoritative voice. This is a representative of a particular group of pupils in the school, for example, gifted and talented pupils. Following on to the second type of pupil voice, we have critical voice. That is targeted to a particular pupil audience, such as vulnerable children and young people, to inform service provision. Finally, therapeutic voice, which is an emphatic voice expressed in dialogue between pupils that validates the experiences of pupils by reflecting on issues and problems, for example, peer mentoring and peer counselling.
Great points, thank you, Caitlin. Next, we're going to evaluate the effectiveness of pupil voice in primary education.
It sounds interesting. Could you tell me the advantages of pupil voice, please?
Yes, of course. Pupil voice encourages students to become involved in projects and activities. It also helps to build the pupil's confidence and provides opportunities to engage and include students with the organisation of teaching and learning. Pupil voice encourages the students to stay engaged, and it has a positive impact on their well-being, behaviour and learning. Giving pupils the chance to have their own say may improve the students' capability of learning and the pupil and staff relationships.
Wow, that's interesting. Do pupils feel they benefit from having their say?
Student voice can and should be an effective method of gathering feedback from pupils. To ensure this, I have asked pupils from a local primary school for their opinions. They have in fact stated that pupil voice is extremely useful and effective because it helps them get their honest views and opinions regarding anything directly to the teachers. Therefore, their inquiries can be dealt with almost immediately.
That's great. Are there any disadvantages with pupil voice?
Unfortunately, yes, there are a lot of risks associated with giving pupils the power to make decisions. Firstly, the pupils will learn by trial and error, which is a great way for them to progress. However, this can be slow and discouraging if and when the pupils fail. The pupils may also focus on topics outside of the curriculum, therefore that might become irrelevant and a waste of time.
That's interesting. Do you have any more disadvantages you could tell us?
Absolutely. Another disadvantage is that pupil voice could potentially disregard all the teachers' hard work and effort. This is because the teachers would have put in a large amount of work to make plans in the classroom or around the school, but the children would decide they would prefer an alternative, which I can imagine would be disheartening. Therefore, those hard-worked plans would then be a waste of time, but hopefully it would be worth it so the children are happy and content. Finally, teachers could be biased and only listen to certain pupils, which could cause disturbance and create arguments in school with the children, teachers and parents.
Why did they introduce pupil voice?
They introduce pupil voice to involve the pupils in decision making, which can create meaningful change and a better academic outcome, as well as facilitating a sense of empowerment and inclusion. Why is pupil voice important, Cody?
Children and young people need to be provided with meaningful opportunities to share their experiences, views, and hopes about their school. Pupils need to know that it is safe and that it's important for them to express their views on what happens at school. They need to know that what they say is valued and will be listened to and considered. Has pupil voice benefited any schools yet?
Schools with a strong commitment to pupil voice have reported many positive outcomes. These include a reduction in exclusions, better behaviour, better relationships across the whole school community, and improving attainment and attendance, all of which can also improve your school's rating by the school inspectorate.
There is not one way to promote the voice of children and young people in a school or further education setting. Every setting is different with a unique cohort of pupils.
Do you have any ideas?
Yes, here are some ideas a school might use to get started. Firstly, to create regular opportunities for children and young people to share their views with each other and school staff. Secondly, to carry the ways in which pupils can participate. For example, school council can make useful contributions to shaping school life, but only a small number of pupils can get involved, and some may find this type of formal engagement challenging.
That's great. Additionally, holding a class or tutor group meeting to discuss the agenda of the next school council meeting can be an effective way of encouraging all pupils to contribute in a non-threatening environment.
That's right. Assemblies too can provide opportunities to make sure pupils understand a school's commitment to knowing what children want and need. Furthermore, a suggestion box placed in the entrance hall or in each classroom with the contents shared at the school council meetings can also be effective. Caitlin, could you please tell me how pupil voice changes views in the classroom?
Of course, it allows students to read and present their own materials that relate to the fundamental lessons so they can approach the topic from their own perspective. As a teacher, you can act as a facilitator and encourage conversation and healthy debate between diverse opinions. It recognises the value of student voice and actively involves students in decision-making processes. It encourages them to share their experiences, perspectives, and ideas, allowing their voices to shape the learning environment and influence school policies. Pupil voice changes views in every classroom, as it gives children the ability to voice their own views. For example, if a certain pupil dislikes something, their view will be took upon, and their class teacher will make an effort to change what it is the pupil dislikes.
How does pupil voice improve teaching?
Pupil voice can improve teaching as it helps to bring pupils closer to their teachers. Pupils feel as though they can express themselves and relay their feelings. It can be used to provide a forum for children to talk about what they have learned, any challenges they have faced, and what they would like to learn about. This can help you access the effectiveness of your curriculum, planning and delivery. Caitlin, are you able to tell me how the class teacher gathers pupils' opinions, please?
Of course, after speaking to local primary schools, some teachers gather feedback in different ways. I spoke to a reception and Year 1 teacher and asked how she gathers the pupils' opinions. She said she always before, during and after the topic they are learning, she will get the children in a circle and ask each individual child their views and ideas on the topic they are learning about. I then went higher up the school to ask the Year 5 and 6 teachers. He said he gives the pupils a questionnaire to fill out before, during and after each topic they learn about. When giving them a questionnaire, this gives the class teacher an opportunity to gather the pupils' informations.
Thank you. Here are some of the questions that teachers typically ask the pupils during their discussion or questionnaire. The first one being, are you looking forward to starting this topic and why?
The second question is, how do you find the work in this subject? Do you find it easy or challenging?
The third question is, what does your teacher do to help you?
Another question a teacher may ask a pupil during their pupil voice feedback is, what is the piece of work that you are really proud of?
Furthermore, they may ask, can you name me one time throughout this topic where you really enjoyed your learning?
And finally, can you tell me one thing that you learned from this topic? These are questions teachers may ask their pupils before, during, or after their chosen topic. Here we have some questionnaires. Here we have some examples of questionnaires. In my opinion, the first picture in the top left would be used for juniors as it's more detailed, whereas the bottom right image would be used for infants as it is easier for children to understand. The first picture has various questions for the pupil to read, and it has a multiple choice answer box where the children can pick whether they agree, disagree, or if they are unsure. In the bottom image, Younger pupils are asked if they feel happy, sad, or angry. And at the bottom of the image, children are given the opportunity to share something with their teacher if necessary.
Thank you, Caitlin.
In the future, we are hoping to become primary school teachers. We will be discussing how we would adapt pupil voice into our own classroom. For our future, we aspire to create a classroom with inspired young minds that will have the belief in oneself to give their honest opinion on the school. This would be including the curriculum, layout of the lessons, and all of the above. By allowing this as role models, we will create an enjoyable yet effective environment for the pupils to learn at their full potential. Cody, can you tell me how pupil voice can be engaged in primary schools?
Pupil voice can be engaged in primary schools. Developing pupil voice in primary schools can be established in multiple ways. The pupils are more likely to engage in entertaining and enjoyable class surveys or regular feedback sessions with their teachers. Furthermore, communicating the benefits of pupil voice to the children would be beneficial to make sure that they are aware of the importance of the pupils' involvement. Creating spaces for discussion is crucial, whether this is to organise little tasks, debates, or question time in groups. The more exchange there is, the higher the likelihood of achieving useful student impact. It is also important to create open discussion where students feel they are able to speak honestly. This can be more productive than answering closed questions. The goal is to designate time and space to stimulate a meaningful dialogue between staff and students.
Thank you. Here we have an interview with a class teacher, Beth, at Gwaun Primary School. Cody went into the school to ask her questions on pupil voice in order to get opinions on the topic from a teacher's perspective.
Yeah. Hi, so I'm Beth Jones. I work in Gwaun Primary School and I am the Year 1 teacher.
So I'll be asking the questions for her, and the first question is, what is pupil voice?
So pupil voice is canvassing the children's opinions and helping to use that to inform our planning.
Thank you. And the second question is, how is pupil voice used within Gwaun Primary School?
So at the start of a new topic, we introduce the topic with an immersion, and then during the first week, after they've done a little bit of an immersion activity to launch the topic, we ask the children what they know about the topic already and what they'd like to find out, and then we use this to drive our planning and plan appropriate activities that will engage the children and obviously follow on to their interests.
Thank you. And the last question is, do you believe that pupil voice has helped to develop Gwaun Primary School?
Yeah, I think Pupil Voice is really good for helping to develop the learning, and obviously to make sure that it is actually to develop what the children are interested in. We've recently also introduced something across the whole school called Barn a Plant, which is the pupil's opinion. And actually what we've done with that is we've grouped the children across the areas of learning for the new curriculum for Wales, and they're now starting to help with the strategic development of the school by saying what they think needs to go into each area of learning, as well as the things that they do within their class.
Thank you very much.
Could you please elaborate and tell us what questions you asked Beth?
The first question I asked her was, what is pupil voice? Then I asked how pupil voice is used within Gwymysgyn Primary School. For the final question, I asked if she believes pupil voice has helped to develop Gwymysgyn Primary School. After speaking to the class teacher, Beth, she says how the school have recently introduced Barna Plant across the whole school.
That sounds interesting. Could you tell me a little more?
Barna Plant accepts the pupils' opinions. They have grouped the children across the areas of learning for the new curriculum for Wales. This is helping with the strategy development of the schools as they say their opinions on what they believe should go into each areas of learning, also including what each child does within their class. I was glad to go up to Gwymysgyn Primary School and speak to Beth as it gave us the opportunity to speak to a teacher who teaches a Year 1 class, and we were able to see her understanding of pupil voice and ask her how she thinks pupil voice has developed within the primary school that she works in.
Thank you. We are now coming to the end of pupil voice, so we are going to be given an overall view. Overall, pupil voice refers to ways in which the thoughts, wishes and opinions of learners are invited and engaged that are acted upon in an educational setting. We recognise that pupil voice can contribute to a school's improvement, and we believe that the pupils' opinions are immensely needed in order for the school to exceed at its full potential.
We also support and promote that the pupils' opinions help the school to identify future priorities and make more informed decisions on well-being, learning experiences and the quality of teaching. Through their involvement, pupils develop valuable personal and social skills such as listening skills and working with others.
We stand for the fact that student voice in schools means a whole school commitment to listening to the views, wishes and experiences of all children and young people, and is placing value in what children and young people tell school staff about their experiences.
That is all for student voice. Now moving on to our curriculum.
We designed our curriculum and made a content page that shows our aims and purposes, areas of learning, structure and balance.
Sounds interesting. Could you tell me more about the aims within your curriculum, please?
Our aims are as following: to ensure students are well educated to apply to other areas of life. This is taken from the Department of Education in England, as this takes into account the subject-based curriculum our team has discussed whilst designing our own.
The next aim is to promote well-being. This comes from the Welsh curriculum as they find supporting well-being highly important through education. This is relevant to us as our secondary focus is well-being, so we thought it would be crucial to include this.
For our third aim, we chose to have broad and balanced curriculum and students to achieve high standards of success. This is from the Northern Ireland curriculum. We have decided to incorporate this because we want our students to go above and beyond in education and to balance pure education with areas of learning and experience.
And finally, the last aim is to develop skills to flourish in life past education years. We have decided to add this aim from the Scottish curriculum because we believe primary school is the foundation to success in education. Therefore, if we can teach skills which will help them flourish, then that will set them up for an influential future. Secondly, onto our purposes of the curriculum. The first one is to support children to be ambitious and capable learners. This is to push children above and beyond to achieve their greatest possibilities and strive to be successful individuals. Next is to learn throughout their lives so that the information we teach our curriculum is to be retained and practiced throughout their life, not just in school years. To become enterprising and creative contributors is the next purpose. This is to teach them creativity in multiple subjects to show diversity in their work. Finally, the last purpose is to become ethical, informed citizens of the world. This is to teach the children in our curriculum different cultures and religious practices, to educate them and show respect towards them. We have been inspired by the Welsh curriculum for these purposes, as it represents an excellent insight into what we want our curriculum to achieve.
Next is our curriculum focus. This is on core subjects as we feel it is the structure for a well-equipped and substantial education. We retrieved this from the English government as they include maths, science, English, physical education and ICT at all stages.
Nevertheless, we took into account the impactment of well-being on students and have vouched to incorporate this as a secondary focus to our curriculum. This is to encourage to understand and navigate life opportunities and challenges. This is in relation to the Welsh Government's Wellbeing Pact, as they strive for children's mental health to be their first priority.
Next, we look at our areas of learning and experience. This is education through other mediums of teaching, for example, through art. This could be using art supplies to paint a storyline through a historic era to show different events that happened throughout those times.
Core subjects is next. These are fundamental baseline to a curriculum. Using maths, English and science, these are part of the main section of our curriculum, as we believe structure in core subjects are essential for childhood education.
Digital competence is the next area of learning and experience. This has become heightened through COVID-19 times as online learning became the only way to attend school. So digital skills have been an important factor in education, which is why we wanted to incorporate this into our curriculum.
We have introduced a balanced section to our curriculum. This includes both areas of learning and experience and core subjects. So children can have a broad example to activities and subjects in order for the most potential of education.
The structure of our curriculum has 4 subsections. For example, areas of learning and experience, core subjects, digital competence, and both areas of learning and experience.
Firstly, areas of learning and experience. These subjects include art, well-being, PE and life skills. This taps into the children's emotional and creative side, with well-being lessons to ask about pupil voice and how the school lessons may be varied to fit their desires. Also, art and PE to give children creative abilities, such as using PE exercises to learn the times tables by using a hula hoop in multiples of 2 and hopping in each hula hoop.
Core subjects include English, maths, literature, reading and science. Science can also be included in digital competence as it is related to technology skills, such as using a graph to summarize data. Core subject lessons could be to write a passage of text in English in a story form to work on grammar, which can also be linked to reading as inspiration for said story. Also, maths can be used to learn times tables, shapes, time, money, etc.
Digital competence are ICT and science. These lessons could include creating an animation on Sketch or creating a poster on Canva or a film on iMovie. This teaches digital skills which can be used in the future.
Finally, both areas of learning and experiences and core subjects include languages and humanities. Lessons for these could be to incorporate Welsh numbers and Welsh words in a sentence, which links with English and maths. Also, humanities could be to write about how a certain religion's day routine is led out and how it relates to yours.
And finally, breadth and balance. This is to teach a wide range of subjects and topics for as long as possible for a child. This is whilst promoting a broad range of knowledge and skills to discover their own personal interests. This will be incorporated into our curriculum by using a range of areas of learning and experience and core subjects to dig deep into the content of the subject, and also to spread information across other subjects.
Furthermore, we have collectively decided to incorporate pupil voice into our curriculum, as we strongly believe it is essential for a great working environment and to keep children as happy as possible to act on their views towards the school's improvement.
This will be shown by allowing a start-off topic, what do you already know, whiteboard activity, and what would you like to find out. This allows the pupils to engage on what they find most interesting about the topic, whilst also following the curriculum. They can teach what the children want to know in ways of areas of learning and experience. We have taken inspiration from the teacher Beth at Gwymiskin Primary School, as it seems to be an effective way to produce pupil voice.
Next, we will introduce applications to become a member of the Student Council, which will conduct weekly meetings to voice their opinions to what seems to be needing to improve around the school. So they can work on this and provide a pitch to the head teacher in order for them to do something about it. This can also help them in future by applying for jobs and conducting interviews. Lastly, there will be a pupil voice box available at each school who follow this curriculum, and it is encouraged for pupils to put ideas into this box if they are not a part of the Student Council. This can help with their queries about school improvement who may not have gotten into the Student Council.
As for our conclusion, we hope our vodcast has give you a better understanding of the effectiveness of pupil voice. We have thoroughly enjoyed creating it and have definitely learned more about pupil voice. Thank you for listening. Bye.
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 Hi, so I'm Bethan Jones. I work in Gwymiskin Primary School and I am the Year 1 teacher.
So I'll be asking the questions for her, and the first question is, what is pupil voice?
So pupil voice is canvassing the children's opinions and helping to use that to inform our planning.
Thank you. And the second question is, how is pupil voice used within Gwymiskin Primary School?
So at the start of a new topic, we introduce a topic with an immersion, and then during the first week, after they've done a little bit of an immersion activity to launch the topic, we ask the children what they know about the topic already and what they'd like to find out, and then we use this to drive our planning and plan appropriate activities that will engage the children and obviously follow on to their interests.
Thank you. And the last question is, do you believe that pupil voice has helped to develop Gwymiskin Primary School?
Yeah, I think pupil voice is really good for helping to develop the learning and obviously to make sure that it is actually to develop what the children are interested in. We've recently also introduced something across the whole school called Barn a Plant, which is the pupil's opinion. And actually what we've done with that is we've grouped the children across the areas of learning for the new curriculum for Wales, and they're now starting to help with the strategic development of the school by saying what they think needs to go into each area of learning, as well as the things that they do within their class.
Thank you very much.